Hello, today I'd like to talk a little bit about our next game. There's really not that much to say about our next game because we haven't started working on it. Obviously, we still have a lot of work to do on Neverending Nightmares, and then, rewards, and I don't know if we'll port the game or other things. So, the next game is certainly uh, not going to be really soon by any stretch of the imagination, but I, it's something I've been thinking about, and there's a few, different things I'm thinking. Well, firstly, I think, assuming Neverending Nightmares is successful, which, fingers crossed it will be, then I would like to continue working in the horror genre. A lot of indie developers release different types of games, and and certainly Neverending Nightmares is a completely different game than Retrograde. But at least for me, I feel like sticking in the horror genre is what I'd like to do. Both from what I'm most interested in working on, but also I think from a business perspective, it makes a lot of sense because, we can essentially get better and learn more about making horror games. And, you look at a company like Frictional, they've basically only made horror games. And, now they're probably the best horror game studio out there. And so I think, there's a lot of advantages to doing that. And then the other advantage, of course, is you can sort of own your community and keep them interested in. And, obviously we got a lot of Retrograde fans who wanted to support what we're doing with Neverending Nightmares, and we got a lot of Neverending Nightmares fans who went and checked out Retrograde. And certainly there's some crossover, but I think, Retrograde is not a game for everyone, and Neverending Nightmares is not a game for everyone, and, there's a Venn diagram and there's some intersection, but there's plenty of not overlapping people in the audience. So I think we'd want to continue. And just personally, I like the idea of almost iterating on what we have, because sequels get a bad rap in video games, but sequels actually give you a lot of room to refine what you're doing, and also improve upon the mistakes you made previously. So you can usually do bigger and better things than if you started from scratch. And so while I don't think we would make a direct sequel to Neverending Nightmares, you know, I like keeping something in the same vein, sort of like System Shock to Bioshock, or maybe like Bioshock to Bioshock Infinite, although they sort of tied those together in a weird way in the DLC, but ours would be not tied together. But then the question is, if we're making a game that has some similar themes, I think there's more I'd like to do with the idea of waking up into these false awakenings, these nightmares, and there's also more things I'd like to do with the branching narrative. I don't feel like I was able to do as much of that as I set out to, just because of schedule and planning difficulties. So I think I would like to make a game sort of styled in the vein of Neverending Nightmares. And then the question is, what would we call said game? Certainly if you look at like Silent Hill and Silent Hill 2, completely different games, completely different story. Obviously, there's similar elements. I think those sort of coexist. But I think, in the indie or the downloadable space, I'm not sure if, direct numbered sequels are the way to go, because You know, if you're looking at the Steam store and then you're like, oh, let me get, you know, Neverending Nightmares or Neverending Nightmares 2, I'll just get Neverending Nightmares 2, I'm sure it's better. Which, I mean, hopefully it'll be even better than Neverending Nightmares 1, although hopefully Neverending Nightmares 1 will be, you know, super great. But, you know, if it's a completely different world, and I don't know, I'm debating whether we want to do a completely different art style to some extent. I think that might be a good idea to differentiate our titles, because I think, you know, you don't want people to say, oh, you know, I played Neverending Nightmares 1, this looks like more of the same. You want people to know, hey, this is something different and more, you know, not more of the same. So, I mean, while I think, you know, kind of I'd like to do something sort of like, you know, Amnesia and then Amnesia Machine for Pigs, you know, very different games. You know, they're using the subtitles. I don't know if we kind of backed ourselves into the corner because the first Neverending Nightmares is just called Neverending Nightmares, and, you know, I don't know if that's a distinction people will make or care about, and, you know, I don't know. It's a tough thing, and it's not an important decision from a game design perspective, right? Like, what the game is called doesn't really change what the game is, but I think it sets players' expectations, and also it has to do with marketing. So, although I have, you know, ideas for the game design, I think it's going to be pretty cool and different than Neverending Nightmares. I don't know what we'll call it, and I'm already worried about that. And certainly I'm worried about other aspects of the game. Because, I mean, Neverending Nightmares has been a challenge to work on from a game design perspective, and then it's like, you know, now I have to come up with new ideas, and I think I can, and I think, you know, being able to start from a blank canvas rather than trying to fit things into Neverending Nightmares will be advantageous, you know, but I don't know, I'm scared. You know, what if I used up all my good ideas? I don't know. But I mean, certainly, it's something we'll work on, and you know, we'll do the best we can, you know, assuming, you know, Neverending Nightmares is successful, and it makes sense to keep being an indie developer and keep making horror games. So, anyway, thanks for watching.